We just got product info and new card reviews for the next set of Disney Lorcana, which means here we go again. Hi everyone, it's Mushu Report, and I'm going to be going through today the next set for Disney Lorcana, which is named Rise of the Floodborn. So we got product info with the very first thing as the booster packs you can see over here with Queen of Hearts, with Raya and the Beast on the cover of the booster packs. Aside from that, we have the starter decks with first one is Amber and Sapphire featuring the Queen and Gaston, and also Amethyst and Steel structure deck featuring Merlin and Tiana. We actually have some of these cards reviewed to us today as well, and I'll be going through them in the later part of this video. Look forward to it. Then we also have this Disney Lorcana Disney 100 Collector's Edition product. So it's kind of a replacement of the first chapter gift sets because it actually has 4 booster packs for Rise of the Floodborn. So that's kind of similar. But instead of your giant cards for Mulan and Hades, this time around, they're giving you 6 what I call Disney 100 rarity cards, because the rarity now there is replaced by the Disney 100 logo, and it features 4 cards from the first chapter with Genie, Stitch, Maleficent, and Maui. And I say Maui Demigod is a definite big upgrade for me in artworks wise. Different style artwork, still an upgrade. And there's also 2 other cards from Rise of the Floodborn with a new Mickey Mouse, Friendly Face, and Elsa Gloves Off. So yeah, these are the 6 cards that will be included inside. This looks to be kind of a collector's thing, which might make it kind of hard to get. I can see many people wanting this. I definitely want one as well. So let's try and see if we can get this one. Moving on, we have the Illuminous Trove. The information for this is kind of not updated yet on the Ravensburger side because it actually states the player's guide for the first chapter, but I'm assuming the contents are similar, which means 8 booster packs for Rise of the Floodborn with your damage tokens, and also, of course, your player's guide for Rise of the Floodborn. I really enjoyed opening my Illuminous Trove for the first chapter. I want to get this one as well. Yes, many things to get. And lastly, we have the accessories. First up is the playmats with the Beast. He's actually perched on his castle, one of the towers. Look at the mob that's here to attack him. And there's also Winnie the Pooh, Honey Wizard. Here's this surrounded by flying honey. He's kind of a sorcerer thing. Really cool. I can see that many people will definitely want this artwork for the playmat. Then we also have the sleeves and deck box featuring Mulan and Sisu. Sisu looks pretty alright. I will say the Mulan sleeve looks really cool. I definitely want the Mulan sleeve for my deck. So yeah, these are the products that we have for Rise of the Floodborn. Now moving on, we go into the contents for Rise of the Floodborn. Before we go into the cards, they actually mentioned also there's the Jungle Book, the Great Mouse Detective, Pinocchio, Zootopia, Raya and the Last Dragon. These franchises will be all part of Rise of the Floodborn. So we're going to see one of the Great Mouse Detective and one of the Raya and the Last Dragon cards here. But the rest, we haven't got to see them yet. Let's look forward to them. Jungle Book will definitely be interesting for me, and I know many people will like Zootopia as well. Alright, let's go into the cards. Winnie the Pooh, Honey Wizard. So he's a 5-cost Amethyst character with 5/5 stats and 2 lore. He's kind of a direct upgrade for Jumba Jokiba, which was a 5-cost Emerald character for 4/5 stats and 2 lore. So 1 extra strength. Emerald versus Amethyst, different ink, different usages, but well, I mean, both are Valena. Hard for me to not compare them directly. Another one is Mickey Mouse, Friendly Face. This one is a really strong card actually, I'll say, because he's a 6-cost Amber character with 1/6 stats and 3 lore. So what's going to happen, because it's an Amber deck, you can get to play Lantern. So you can play Lantern on turn 2 and turn 3. Then by turn 4, you get to play Mickey Mouse, Friendly Face. What can you do with that? In turn 5, you play 1 more ink, so you have 5 ink, and you can also have the 2 lanterns over there, and you reduce 3 costs for your characters by his ability, where whenever this character quests, you pay 3 costs, 3 ink less for the next character you play this turn. So you just need to quest with him on turn 5 with your 5 plus your 2 lantern plus 3 ink lesser here. That's 10 ink worth of character ink that you can get to play around with. Really good. I think there's a lot of potential there. You know, just in time, we thought was actually pretty decent for Amber Ink to play 5-cost characters fast. This one, by turn 5, you get to play 10 ink worth of characters. So yeah, it's pretty crazy for the Amber to actually get to play. Then we also have Zero the Hero, which is a 2-cost song card. You count the number of characters you have in play, and you pay that amount in lesser, which makes it weird for me because you're going to have a lot of characters on the board if you're playing the Stitch Rockstar build, where you have a lot of spam with a lot of 1 ink and 2 ink characters. Then yeah, you get to reduce a lot of ink. But because you're playing that deck, you're not going to have that many high cost characters to reduce the ink for. So I guess this is still better to be played in a curve deck. You get to maybe reduce 2 or 3 ink, and then since it's a song card, then yeah, you're getting to reduce any amount of ink, like 2 or 3 ink. It's still going to be pretty good. Then next up, we have Elsa. Elsa Gloves Off is a Challenger +3. She's a 4-cost Amethyst character with 3/4 stats and 1 lore. So that ability is similar to Jafar. So Jafar is also a 4-cost character, but 2/5 stats. So the difference here is that with the Challenger +3, Jafar will become a 5/5, while Elsa becomes a 6/4. So I think the 6/4 is more useful because there's many actually 6-cost characters that only have 6 willpower, like that Mickey Mouse over there. So yeah, Elsa is going to be able to take them out, while that Jafar is not really good enough to just finish off the job. So I think this Elsa might be an upgrade for the 3/4 stats. Then next, Merlin Shapeshifter. We have another Merlin, which this one is definitely very combolicious to me. Okay, 4-cost character, Amethyst, 1/5 stats, and 1 lore. So the stats aren't that great, but he has the ability whenever one of your other characters is returned to hand from play, this character gets +1 lore this turn. So that's kind of like the Area Who's It collector kind of style where there looks to be a lot of combo plays. So what I'm considering is that maybe in this set, there's going to be maybe a 1-cost character that lets you possibly add 1 strength to another character by returning it to hand. And yeah, then maybe you can get the combo and play it a lot of times to actually get your Merlin to have a lot of lore. Something along that line perhaps. Let's see if I'm right or wrong in a couple of months. Next, Sorcerer's Spellbook. Exert, pay 1 ink, gain 1 lore. I actually think this card is not bad. It's kind of like the Amethyst version for Eyes of Fate, where this one is you pay 3, so it's cheaper, but you have to pay 1 more later on for ink. But the thing is, for Amethyst ink, for the lower cost characters, I actually feel that they don't have that much lore. So this is going to be very helpful for the lower cost characters to gain lore easily. Of course, it's not as powerful as Eye of the Fates, but then think about it. You can actually play this card to gain lore even if you have 0 characters on the board. So this is definitely one interesting card that I think could be considered to be used, especially in the Amethyst Ruby stalling deck perhaps, to slowly gain lore. Let's see how it works out. Raya, Warrior of Kumandra. So she's a 4-cost Ruby character, 5/3 stats with 1 lore. Sounds familiar? Because Scar, Fury Usurper, has the exact same cost and stats. So I'm not too sure why they made Raya, Warrior of Kumandra the exact same thing, but yeah, I'm looking forward to Raya getting more stuff. Perhaps like Scar, she'll be getting a Floodborn, especially since she's even on the cover of the packaging. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more versions of Raya. But for now, this one is just kind of meh to me. Okay, Dinner Bell. This is the card from the Great Mouse Detective. And yeah, this is interesting because it's kind of a different version of Magic Mirror. So in Magic Mirror, you pay 2 costs ahead of time and you pay 4 every time you want to draw. This one, you pay 4 ahead of time and then you exert and pay 2 ink to actually draw cards equal to the damage on a chosen character of yours. Then you banish them. So this one can actually let you potentially draw a lot more. I think that maybe Ruby will get a card that kind of damages themselves when it goes into play. So maybe it takes 3 damage and then you can combo your Dinner Bell to draw off 3 cards directly. So this one is interesting, but I kind of think that Magic Mirror seems better for now if I'm going to compare the 2 cards directly. Since Magic Mirror, with no strings attached, just pay 4, draw 1. That can be very useful, especially when you're going to late game, when you're all finding resources, trying to draw more cards. And yeah, you're going to want that one. Magic Mirror is very easy to pull off. Compared to Dinner Bell, it's kind of a situation kind of thing. You might not get to draw that many cards, then it's not as easy to use. Next up, Tiana. Tiana has a brand new keyword with resist +2. So she has a damage dealt to this character is reduced by 2 for anything. You challenge her with a 2 strength character, she takes no damage. You use Fire the Cannons on her, you use Grab Your Swords on her, no damage. You use Tinkerbell's second ability to actually deal damage to her, nothing happens. So yes, resist +2 sounds like it's very strong, but in return, she doesn't have that great stats because she's a 4-cost steel character, uninkable, with 1-4 stats and 2 lore. But regardless of all that, she can stay alive on the board very long, which is really great for her second ability, which is when she's exerted and you have no cards in hand, so kind of a bit hard to pull off perhaps in the early game. Your opponent can't play actions, which is really strong because this is great, for example, for a musketeer deck, which I discussed with another friend in Discord earlier on. So if you actually have your musketeers to protect Tiana, they can't challenge her easily, then your Tiana can just stay exerted on your opponent's turn. They can't damage her easily since with the bodyguard, and they also can't do damage to her through your spells because of the resist +2. So yeah, I think this is a really strong card to actually look forward to. Out of the 13 cards we got today, this might be the best one yet. The only thing that can kind of stop her is you're going to play LeFou. So your LeFou Instigator, get her to be back in the ready position, and then you get to play your action cards. But yeah, that's probably the only outright counter to Tiana at the moment. Okay, so that's all the action item cards and the non-Floodborn cards. Let's move on to Floodborns, some more interesting stuff, especially since, well, this is Rise of the Floodborn. First up, we have Belle Hidden Archer, which is a shift 3, which is pretty interesting because with shift 3, she has 3 stats. It's okay, but she has 3 lore. So maybe we need another Belle that's a lower cost, because right now the only lower cost Belle we have is Belle Inventive Engineer, which is 3 costs. So yeah, you can only play this on turn 4 at the moment. That said, her Tawny Arrows ability is really nice. It's like Flynn, because when she gets challenged, the challenging character's player must discard all their hands. All their hands. It's not just like Flynn where you discard one. This one for Belle Hidden Archer, your opponent discards all their hands. Definitely worthy of her legendary rarity, and actually I think this is something that can definitely be considered for many decks. Even if without shift, she's still a 5-cost character. Yes, but your opponent has to discard all their cards. Not as strong by then because your opponent will get to play more cards by turn 5, but I think actually they're still pretty good because they are forced to get rid of her quick because she actually has 3 lore. Definitely a very good card. Next, Cinderella, Stout-Hearted. She's a 7-drop steel character with 5/5 stats and 3 lore. So shift 5 on top of your Cinderella. We need more Cinderella perhaps. Right now we have only 1 in the first chapter. And she has also resist +2, which means she can stay alive on the board pretty long. And she also has another ability where when you play a song card, she can actually get to challenge a ready character. That's kind of interesting because this Cinderella kind of has the Elsa Snow Queen packed in it, where she can just, in a sense, exert any character challenge. For her, she doesn't need to exert anyone. She can just go and challenge the ready character. This is not bad, but actually, I don't really care for that second ability too much at the moment. Might be useful situational-wise, but at the moment, I'm just thinking 5-cost character, because you can shift into her, she has 3 lore, and she has resist +2. So unless it's something like Dragonfire, Let It Go, or Be Prepared, other than that, she's going to be staying on the board pretty long, and she can just keep on gaining lore while your opponent can't really get rid of her easily because of that resist +2. That's my thoughts for this Cinderella. Then we have Gaston, Intellectual Powerhouse, which is kind of funny because he's like all smart and all that now, like the Belle Inventive Engineer. You can see the comparison there. He's a shift character, 6-cost to fire, 4/4 stats with 3 lore. I think that's kind of a trend right now with a lot of these Floodborns with 3 lore. So 4 cost at 3 lore, that's pretty good, I would say. Just that it's a fire, so you have Maleficent Uninvited for 5 cost with 3/6 stats, which is much better, and also 3 lore. But then Gaston has Develop Brain, which is of course a direct reference to Develop Your Brain, where he has the same sort of ability. When you play Gaston, look at the top 3 cards, not 2. You look at the top 3 cards, put 1 in your hand and put the rest at the bottom, and then that's it. He becomes a vanilla character after that. Pretty interesting, but I will only want to play him in turn 4. At turn 6, he's like okay. But yeah, considering that you have Maleficent Uninvited, it's not as great in comparison. I kind of rather have Maleficence if it's going to be playing this at turn 6. Okay, lastly, the Queen Commanding Presence. 5-cost Ember character with 4/3 stats and 2 lore. Most interesting for her is that she's a shift 2. So far all our shift Floodborn characters are all reducing by 2 ink. So let's say it's a 7-cost heroic outlaw, then you reduce 2 ink, you can play them at 5. 6-cost character, you can play them at 4, so on and so forth. But the queen is the first that brings out this characteristic. She's a 5-cost, but she actually is a shift 2, so you can reduce by 3 ink to play her. Only problem is we need more queens at the moment, because right now the only queen we have in the first chapter is a 5-cost character. So to make this one really, really good, which I think will happen, is there'll be a 1-cost the queen getting released in Rise of the Floodborn. So you can get to play that first cost the queen, and then you can play this queen in the second cost. So yeah, that's the idea. And that being said though, if you do that, her ability isn't too useful, but then if you can play a 4/3 character on your turn 2 which has 2 law, that could be pretty decent. The only issue is of course smash, but other than smash, yeah, I think that she actually has pretty decent stats if you get to play her in turn 2. You don't want to play her in turn 5 because she's kind of a support character. The additional bit is that she actually -4 strength from an opposing character and just gives 4 to your character instead. So sort of a Scar Mastermind plus support kind of mixture thing ability. But I would say that definitely not something I want to play in turn 5. I want to play her in turn 2. Then just, just get 2 law. That's all I want. You want to play her in turn 2? Which means that you won't have any other characters? Yeah, just get 2 law. Alright, so that's all my thoughts for the Rise of the Floodborn and also this first set of card reviews, which I'm really excited for. I think the products look great. I definitely want to get pretty much one of everything. The accessories, well, we'll see. I like the Beast playmat and the Mulan stuff definitely. And yeah, but the cards themselves, I think there's a lot of potential there. Tiana is something that will be played, in my opinion. We'll see. There's a long time till it releases, but I think Tiana is something that's going to be very strong. And alright, that's all my thoughts for this Rise of the Floodborn. I hope you guys enjoyed this impromptu video. And yeah, see you in the next video. This is D7 from Mushu Report, signing out.